up a little later. But yeah, so hello everyone. Danny here, that's me. And then we have the lovely Hannah, and she's going to be talking about, I'm not really sure what she's going to be talking about, but she's one of the founders of She Rises Studios, and this is a publishing company. And it's quite an amazing publishing company that does loads of other things as well. But I will let Hannah start us off then.
Well, thank you for having me. I was just going to keep it very simple, give you a little bit of background on me, some on She Rises Studios, and then just maybe answer some questions for those who have questions about publishing. I get asked a lot, what is the difference between self-publishing, hybrid, white label, and traditional? I believe the publishing world, based off of my intel and knowledge, has drastically changed just this year in 2025. But my name is Hanna Olivias, and I run the marketing and public relations side of She Rises Studios, Phoenix TV, She Wins Women's Network, and the magazine team. So originally when we started out, it was just myself and my daughter. We're in our almost 5th year, and we now have 27 team members all across the world. Most of us work remote, which is a lot of fun, and sometimes not so fun, because it would be great to just have everyone under one roof. But when we first started it, it was more started mid-pandemic. We were just really wanting to do some inspirational things for women. We were in the process of, we had just launched my nonprofit called the Brave and Beautiful Blood Cancer Foundation. And I was diagnosed with cancer back then. And so we were just kind of navigating, looking for different things that we could do to help my journey, but also others who are affected. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the type of cancer I have, a lot of doctors there aren't any specialties here. So my journey really began right after we opened the nonprofit, and then about 8 months later, She Rises Studios came about. So we started it with an Instagram page, and then we decided we wanted to do a podcast. I think at that time we had one person who listened. I think it was my husband, and then soon Adriana's husband would listen, and then it just kind of evolved. Her and I participated in an anthology with several other women, and it was a really great experience. And we knew that we wanted to continue writing and having more amazing experiences like that, working with women. But what we did not know is that we would not continue with that publisher. She has since dissolved her business, and we saw just this need for women to want to be able to share their stories. So over the course of 1.5 years, we looked on how to open a publishing firm. What did that entail? Could we really do this? And the answer is, it took a lot of work. Yes, we really did it. It's still always ever evolving. I think to date, we've published over 437 books in the course of 4 years. So it's been a lot of work. I will not tell you it is easy, because none of it has been easy. But what I can tell you is that over the course of these years, I have met some very extraordinary women. I've had the honor of coaching some very extraordinary women. And I have seen women who were afraid to even speak in a room like this now step out onto stages. And I've just seen growth. An example, Danny, would be one. I got to spend a good portion of 2024 with her. She's amazing. If you don't already know that, you'll soon find out. And so having She Rises Studios is both a blessing and also just an honor to be a part of other women's journeys. I did open it with my oldest daughter, and now all of my kids are somehow, some way involved, and there's 5. And I'm sure at some point when my grandsons grow up, maybe they'll do something within it too. My oldest son runs and oversees the day-to-day of both Phoenix TV and She Rises Studios. Adriana is the implementation specialist. And like I said, we have 27 team members. So it's pretty cool to see like all the different legs come together. And when I'm not working, I'm very fascinated with karaoke. Doesn't mean I sing good. I just like to do it. I love to network. We just recently launched, as of not even a month ago, She Wins Women's Network. We have 50 chapters across the country. Danny's actually managing chapter for Sweden. So we're always constantly growing the platforms so that women can come onto these platforms, share their stories, get their messages out, because as we know, we all need a place, right? To call home. We all need a place. We want good energy, good people. And She Wins Women's Network was our most recent creativity, and that came from No More Mean Girls. Every woman can win through collaboration, through connection, relationship building. And so we created She Wins Women's Network. So that's a little bit about, and then Phoenix TV is, a lot of women want to turn their books into a show. This year we will be putting reality shows on. We have a lot of music things coming up. We will cover again this year's Emmy Awards. We also run our premier gifting suites, and then we also have a huge event May 16th in Las Vegas for influencers and people who are in the health and wellness, beauty, fashion, overall well-being. That will be happening in Las Vegas. So we always have events going on, like Empower Her Content Day that's happening on Saturday. So that's a lot, right? And then we publish and produce 10 different magazines monthly. 7 of them are ours, and then we have been contracted by other women in business. So we also publish and produce Force Magazine, which some of you may have been in. We also have $1 Million Mom Society, and then there's another one that is strictly for internal use for this particular client. And then we have She Wins magazine, we have Hanna magazine, Becoming an Unstoppable Woman magazine, Success Savvy magazine, Phoenix Innovation magazine, Travel Digest, Podcast Stars, and Vitality Digest. So basically, we tried to cover all of the avenues of ways for women to really be seen, heard, and known. Is there anything, Danny, you wanted me to talk about specifically, like for publishing? Where are you at in the journey with the girls?
So everyone's at their own pace.
Okay.
So it's like, because the community that I have like 145 people in, they get to check out like the videos that I've created. They get to watch like the weekly guest speaking events that I have. And yeah, so then it's like all at their own pace. When I do one-on-one calls with them, that's where I give them more of like a date started and then the date that they plan on finishing. But then it's all up to them how it goes from there. It's like in the new community that I created where I'm going to be more hand holding and like helping them have more of a curtailed timeline and everything. So then they know exactly where they should be at, where they're going to be, and all these kinds of things.
Gotcha.
But I think maybe giving them a little more look inside of the publishing would be helpful.
So one of the things that I could definitely tell you is there's a big difference between self-publishing, which is you. Amazon has that feature where you can self-publish a book. I'm not a super big fan of it, and I'll tell you why. In the midst of you writing the book, then you're uploading the book, you're creating the marketing materials for the book, you also become the marketer of the book, et cetera, et cetera. To me, I think that's a lot for one person. But some people don't mind it. I personally wouldn't be able to do it. I don't have the time. There's also what they consider hybrid publishers, and hybrid just means that you're hiring someone to help you publish your book from A to Z. That person is helping you with the writing. They're designing the cover, the back cover, sidebind. They're getting you and securing you your ISBN. They're uploading your book to Amazon. They're uploading it to the largest retailers in the world. They do all the grunt work, and your focus is to create this impeccable book. They are also will help you promote this book, get you to those bestseller stats, and also if they're really vested in you, they will teach you how to market it yourself, how to do some book signings, how to go on a tour, all of those. Then there's what's called white label, where you hire them, but they're doing all the work, but they're putting your label on the book as if you published the book. And last but not least, traditional. Traditional has changed. We have two sides to She Rises, and I'll give you the example. The one side is hybrid. So it's where we do all the work. You have a publisher. We do everything from A to Z, marketing, all of it. And then traditional is where you come to us and you're like, I have this book. We check it out. If we feel it's something that will sell, because traditional is where royalties are taken from the publisher. They're split between author and publisher. White label, we don't keep any royalties. They are forwarded to the author. So traditional oftentimes gives an advance to the author. Less and less nowadays, though. I will say that there's not that much of that happening anymore, unless they're an Michelle Obama or Mel Robbins. Then yes, of course they're doing advances. Most people tend to choose now hybrid publishers, where the author, even though they have a publisher, the author maintains full control of their book. It's a very transparent relationship between you and the publisher. And I think Amazon should close down their self-publishing, if I'm being totally honest, because they don't give, I think it confuses people. That's just my personal perspective. We always get women who've tried to self-publish, it doesn't work, and then they're jaded. And they don't understand it. Publishing is ever evolving and probably always will be. But what I can tell you is some of the most popular genres in 2025 for publishing are always going to be self-help, romance, and sci-fi. Journals are very big this year. So if you're writing a book and you're going to accompany it with a journal, this is the year for that. And whichever way you're going in publishing, you're going to need a team. Whether you use self-publishing, hybrid, traditional, you're going to need help because you cannot do it all by yourself. So I always tell women, choose a home that is going to help you in the creativity part to the release part to beyond. Once a book comes out, one of the biggest things that I see is everyone jumps out the gate. The sales are strong. They're showing up consistently every single day. And then week 4, they're not to be found. And then they wonder why their books aren't selling. So I think when you decide to write a book, number one, you should announce it to the world immediately as soon as you decide that you are. You start bringing your network along the journey with you so that they know, hey, my friend, or hey, my client, or hey, my colleague, or hey, whatever is writing this book. This sets you up for a great pre-sale game. It also establishes you as an up-and-coming author. And throughout the time of you creating the book, you would want to focus on marketing the book, some public relations of you and the book, and just really getting out there prior to book release so that when book release does happen, everyone's at the other end ready to click buy. And then after the click buy happens, the book has been launched, then you spend a few weeks. And for those who've purchased the book, this is where you want to get testimonials, you want to get reviews. And then it's just an ongoing thing. Marketing, consistency, testimonials, reviews. Marketing, consistency, testimonials, reviews. And so I see a lot of women authors kind of fall off between week 4 and 6 after the book comes out. Not Danny, though. I can say Danny has consistently promoted her book. We carousel her book. And you never age your book. That's one thing I will tell you. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. So I have a book that came out in 2019 called Becoming an Unstoppable Woman. I never say my book came out in 2019. I say I have a book called Becoming an Unstoppable Woman, and it is about X, Y, and Z. And I believe this book can help you. I still do tours for it. So you don't age your book ever. Now, say you have a book that came out 10 years ago. You want to change some things. You want to make it a second edition or a new rendition. You can do that. Marketing, testimonials, like all of those things. So consistency is a major factor when you decide to become an author. Now, I chose to become an author for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to get my voice out there because I believed I could help someone. And 2, and in year 2 for me, I saw that it was very lucrative and I turned it into one of my streams of income. Wasn't easy. But here we are in year 5 and my books sell. It's opened up doors for me to go on speaking engagements. It's opened up doors for me to do interviews. It's opened up the doors for a lot of things that normally the doors wouldn't be open to. So the book is not just about the book sales, but it's connected to courses that you're going to create, speaking engagements, events that you're going to create from it. The list goes on and on. So it's kind of an ever-evolving thing. And so once you decide to write this book, you're kind of married to it for life, unless you just decide, I just don't want to do this anymore, and you don't care. The moment that you or publisher stop promoting the book, you'll see a decline in your sales. So you're always going to have to do, my rule of thumb for anyone who's writing a book, once the book is out, you need to focus on one virtual or one in-person event every single month where you're talking about the book. And I'll give you an example. Does anyone know who Robin Sharma is? No? Okay, you got it. Okay, Robin Sharma is the bomb. So he wrote a book called The 5 a.m. Club. Yeah, Robin Sharma. So if you notice, he sends out newsletter, emails, and he still utilizes that book as like it is one of his top selling books. He based an app off of it. And he has consistently over the course of 17 years, continued keeping this book alive. It is still one of the top trending books in the world. So that established him. He is now a coach and lots of other things to men and women who are 7 and 8 figure income earners. And all of that came from writing a book. So one of the things that I could tell you is make a strategic plan as to why are you writing this book? What do you want to do with this book? What is the goal for your reader? How much time are you going to put into this book? Are you in it for the short haul or the long haul? I always teach people long game. It's not a race. It's a marathon. It's the long game. You might make $300 your first year and your second year is $40,000. The limit is you, right, Danny? The limit is you. So if you, when you're making this plan, when you're writing this book, it's not just about what's in the book. It's about how you're marketing it too, how you're speaking to your audience, who you're aligning with, like all of those different things. And of course, the book needs to be professional formatted. The flow needs to make sense. These are all things that you do with editor and publishing team. It's harder to do it when you're self-publishing and you're the only eyeballs on it. You might think it's really great, but it might be out of chronological order. It might not make sense to the reader, which is why I don't advise self-publishing. So does anyone have any questions? I know I said a lot.
You mentioned journaling is a thing this year. Could you go a little bit more into that?
Yeah, so this year's predicted to be one of the biggest years where new journals will come out. A lot of authors are writing books with an accompanying journal to it, or they're just creating journals. Of course, this is women niched, but women love to journal. So if you have a really great idea for a journal that you want to publish, this would be a great year to do it. And I think it'll stay longer than just 2025. I think this is something, I don't know how much you ladies watch the publishing industry, but journals have become a very big thing. But it's not just a journal as in like you're doodling, it's like action journals, meaning like you're actually having the person do something. Like that journal becomes a part of their daily action steps to get from A to Z. Women this year, and I think moving forward, I think 2024 was a weird shift in the world. And so women especially want to do things that are going to get them up and going. So for self-help genre, most books that are written can have an accompanying journal. Like I wrote a book called Plan a Life You Love. And so the journal that accompanies that book is, how do I do that? How do I plan the life I love and then live it out loud? And it gives those actionable steps. It breaks it down. It's kind of like Oprah's journals. Has anyone gotten her 3 journals? She does. She makes you think. Journals that make you think. Journals that make you do. Those are very popular.
Cool.
Thank
And then
you.
Chelsea has a question. Oh, sorry, Hangma. Chelsea has a question. She says, at what point in the writing process do you recommend reaching out to you?
As soon as you know you want to write a book, so that you have access to a really great publishing team, so that you're not guessing at what you should do. There's a timeline that your publisher should get to you. You should get plugged into a publishing team. You should be able to start creating the vision for your front cover, back cover. So pretty much right away. Like your book doesn't even need to be written, because here's another thing. How many of you have seen those ads where it says write your book in 90 days? They drive me bananas, because a good book takes time, right? Can you do it? You can, but you need 90 days just of marketing. So like give yourself, 6 to 9, even 12 months to just write this jaw-dropping, grasping book that people are like, oh my God, I can't wait to get my hands on this book. Like, what's her name who wrote Worthy? She didn't write that book in 90 days. I just want y'all to know that. She spent over a year and a half. And she spent all of 2024 and so far 2025 having podcasts about her book, interviewing other guests about her book, going on a book tour, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She did not write that book in 90 days. So if you're looking at that, don't do it, because it gives you like not even a quarter of what really writing a book is, and how to really turn your book into, number one, a bestseller, but number two, something that stays relevant and current, and something that you don't have to market alone. So the answer is as soon as you know. As soon as you made the decision to say, I'm ready to write the book. There is no perfect opportunity, by the way, either. I always get, well, I'm waiting for the perfect opportunity. And I always want to say, well, if I waited for the perfect opportunity, She Rises wouldn't be opened. Because it wouldn't. We took the leap. Did you say someone else had a question? Oh, there's a chat. Huh.
Yeah. Hangama, did you have a question? I interrupted you.
No. I was just saying thank you, Hannah. I really love your story, and I think that it's amazing all the stuff that you've done in just 5 years, and I congratulate you. And
Thank
seriously,
you.
I hope you're rewarding yourself every single day what you've done, because being kind is so important for ourselves. Be kinder to yourself than others. That's what I've learned through my cancer journey.
The cancer journey, part of it is what I think fueled me to want to go so hard involved, because when you get diagnosed, you don't know the timestamp. Doctors told me so many different ones, and so at first I was afraid to plan, which is funny now because I wrote a book called Plan a Life You Love and Live It Outside. So I think live it out loud. I think you just I always say it's what I have, it's not who I am, but it definitely fueled me to want to do things and elevate others, not just myself. Some of my biggest blessings have come from watching other women just really thrive. Like, it's just this really cool thing that you watch this soft-spoken woman who enters the room for the first time, and then a year later, she's like shouting to the mountaintops. Her business has changed. Does that sound like anybody in this room?
Yeah, actually on LinkedIn, my little signature is Thrive Forward. So the last year, the entire 2024, I just started writing. I've never been a writer, and I started getting attention, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can do really something. For the longest time, I didn't even want to talk about my cancer, but now I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not only empowering others, but I'm empowering myself. I gotta write a book. And so I'm so happy that you're, yeah.
Not every book. There was a while when I spoke only about my diagnosis, and that can be very draining.
Yeah.
And so I also write, we have a book coming out called Rise of the Phoenix, and that chapter for me will be about watching other women rise from the platforms we created. It'll be stories, it'll be a combination of stories of women who I've gotten to work with closely and seen them rise from the depths of where they didn't even think they could anymore. So it's just, writing a book can be one of the most powerful tools you can ever create for yourself, for the person on the receiving end, for your business, if you're an entrepreneur. There's so many amazing benefits of becoming an author and really sharing the stories out there. Sorry, okay. So you can, I'll give you the email. So you would use that email and you would reach out and just say, hey, I would like to get some information on how to publish with us. And either Lisa, Adriana, or Jasmine will reach out to you and send you the information. It's very simple. I think Danny could explain the simplicity of the steps. It's not meant to break your brain, which is why I say it's like a long game. Like, you're not in a race with yourself. But you have a lot of support through Danny, number one. And then, of course, the She Rises team and the community. So you have a lot of hands-on. We have every single Thursday, we have Coffee Connect Create, which is free. It's a really great group. Every first Friday of every month, we have our author breakout sessions, where we, either myself or we bring in someone who talks about authorship and kind of gives you like new ideas and new ways to really market your book or how to write your book. So you have a lot of support in the process, at least through us.
Can you give them the times for those too?
Yeah. So Coffee Connect Create is here. I'll put it in the chat. It's every Thursday. Oops. 7 a.m. PST. And then So there's that one. And then author breakout session. So first Friday each month, 7 a.m. EST. So what I can do, Danny, if you want, is I can send you the links, like if you ever want to share it to the ladies. And it's also inside the She Rises Studios community group too. They can also, if I'm not mistaken, I think they can go to sherisesstudios.com. And I think you can sign up to be a recipient of the newsletter, and it is posted in there too. So I'll put that. But I can get that to you, Danny, if you want to share it to the girls.
Yeah, I think that'd be really great. Thank you.
So they're, oh my goodness, I cannot see today. Sorry for the typos, ladies. Just know, like, a couple of things that I would say too. When you decide that you're going to write, make sure you have some really great headshots. Make sure that you're ready to go in the limelight when the time comes, that you're ready to connect with your networks. You know, like this is where social media is just one aspect of promoting your book, but your email database. So be building that, be building connections with people who are in alignment with the book that you're writing, who will help you promote. It's a very big and great way to involve, like the more people you're involving in terms of like sharing your book, promoting your book, obviously the more sales you're going to have, but also it opens up doors to get you into different audiences. There's just so much that you can do to really elevate the book once the book is completed and out. So that's really all I have, unless anyone else has any questions.
No, thank you for your time, Hanna. Seriously. And Danny for asking Hanna to share this. This is a big bonus. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you ladies want to reach out to me directly, I'll leave you my email. I'm happy to answer any questions. And of course, you're all invited inside of our communities. We have She Rises Studios community Facebook group, and then we have She Rises Studios author community. There's a lot of phenomenal women in there. Danny's probably one of our most active. Stay connected to her. She will lead you, guide you, walk beside you. And I just can't say enough, Danny. I'm telling you, do you remember like our first call and like Unstoppable Figures? And like, I feel like you should just be talking about this on stage somewhere, like the whole journey, just even 2024 for you, the growth. I'm just so amazed and so proud of you. I told you, all I know is I could tell you, I told you that you would just be doing something amazing, and that. How is that limiting belief system? Does it still exist, or did you knock it out?
I mean, new ones came out, but I got rid of a bunch of them. It's definitely a work in progress, but I definitely, since I was kind of asked about why don't you become this, like help people write books, I was kind of like, and then the first one-on-one call I had, I was like, oh, I'm meant to do this. This is for me. Because it's like I fell in love with seeing another person's eyes light up when they got to talk about their story. Yep. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. So yeah.
So do you remember one of the classes we had talked about what you opened your first business isn't usually what you go into, meaning like your first business from what you first started as what you are today are totally different. through that entrepreneurial journey, right? And all the different things that you've plugged into, the different organizations, the different women that you've met. And look, it's just, that's why I always say, like, the limit is you, because women always forget, like, we don't need anyone else to put limitations on us. Trust me, we got that. We could do it ourselves. But if we didn't, nothing would stop you. Like, you just keep going. You know, I always picture myself as this woman who's in armor, and anytime someone's trying to, you know, throw a fiery arrow my way, or it's my own limiting belief system or whatever, like, I'm protected. And I just vision myself just walking through as this warrior goddess, singing Katy Perry's "You're Gonna Hear Me Roar" song. And when you have that mentality, even when you're writing your book, when you're out on stages speaking, when you're going into that networking room for the first time and you know nobody, when you feel confident and you feel like this is where I'm meant to be, like, life just looks different when you don't limit yourself anymore. It's a whole different ballpark. So you go, girl. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you too, Hanna.
How did you two meet?
So we did a scholarship program in 2023 called the Voices of 100 Women. So we had a recruitment team. We were looking for women who would come on and be part of the docuseries and also be part of the book. And we also wanted them to write their own book. So the scholarship was given to 100 women. Danny was one of them. She wrote her solo book. She saw it through, and that's how we met. I think it was either Heather or Ashley who introduced you to us.
Yeah, I think it was Heather, and it was like I got into The Secret, that book, and I was just like, my mind was blown and everything just aligned. And then I found out about Bob Proctor, and all this stuff is like all happened all at once, because one thing, no, I have to do like 5 or 6 all at once. And so then I found Hanna, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to do this too. So I had like 3 different coaches like the same time. Oh yeah.
Well, so you know Bob Proctor.
Well, I don't know him personally. I studied through because he was already passed away by that time. But it's like I studied his all these videos that he had created with Sandy at the Proctor Gallagher Institute. So I studied there for like a year or 2.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Danny is a vault of resources and guidance because she's done the work. That is one thing I can say, is that if you're using her as your book coach, expertise person, she's definitely gone through the process. And I think it's pretty cool that you have found your calling to want to help others do the same. So keep that energy.
That's the plan. Thanks. But any ladies have any more questions for the lovely Hanna? No.
Well, Hanna, before you wrote your first book, were you a writer? Did you journal all the time, or did you do anything? Or
I laugh because I was not a writer. I was a doodler. So I would go I have probably 300 journals, literally. And so when I laugh because I had I'm also known at She Rises as the floating comma girl, because my grammar is just, so initially when I was diagnosed, I was asked to write a book with a very well-known publishing company, and I declined it because I was afraid. I was still pretty new in the diagnosis, and I was also in pity party land, and just really, like, I'm huge, like, I'm a helicopter mom. My kids are my world, my grandkids are my world. And I just was like trying to figure out, like, was I going to live a year to even see? And so when I shared my story nationally with People Magazine, a publisher reached out and said, "Hey, we'd like to publish you. We'd like you to share your journey. We believe that your journey could help other cancer patients." And I was like, "No way is that going to happen." And so a year later, I got asked again, and I declined. And then I had this lady reach out and she said, "Hey, I saw your story, and we're doing an anthology with other women about the everyday successful woman." And I was like, "Okay, tell me more. I'm intrigued. What does that mean? How many women are we talking about?" And that one didn't scare me as much because I wasn't doing that journey alone. There were going to be other women. And quite frankly, I didn't think anybody'd read my story. So I did that book, and that same company circled back around and said, "How about now?" And I just wasn't ready. So I wrote in anthologies, and I took all of it from the different doodling journals that I had. And my very first chapter I wrote was a 2,500 word chapter. And then I got the feel for it. And then I got asked to be part of another anthology. And so that's kind of where it all started. I was the worst in high school in English. I still have floating commas. The editors at She Rises Studios speak Hanna, if that's even possible. They do. So they fit, like, all the editors on the team know that they're not getting perfection from me. They're getting progress. And that's another part about the book is when you're writing, write as if you're writing it. Don't use Chat GPT. You can use it like to help with like idea. There's certain aspects of using Chat GPT, but don't let it write the book for you because, like I named my Chat GPT Sheila. So I'm like, "Okay, Sheila, so I want to convey this message. Can you help me? Like, is there a better word?" Right? But I don't let her do my books for me. But that's how I got into it. My story broke in People Magazine because I was advocating for a huge national bill for our country. It was very controversial. You can look it up if you want to. But that's how it came. And once that story broke, they flew me out to New York. I interviewed on the Tamron Hall show. I spent 2 years traveling talking about my death when really all I wanted to do was live. And so all of that went into journals and turned into She Rises. So yeah, quite the journey. You never know, right? Where life's leading you. I finally one day said, "I'll do whatever you want." So here we are. And I am still in treatment. I am still not in remission. There is no cure for multiple myeloma. So it's become a normal day-to-day for me and my family. I have a great team at She Rises. I have an amazing husband, the best kids and grandkids in the world, and women who I get to work with on the daily, like Danny, and so many others, and that makes the journey a lot easier.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
Oh,
Thank you.
You were amazing, Hanna.
thank you, and right back at you. And I can't wait to see like what you ladies are writing, and hear you on stage and see where you're going.
Yes,
Hanna, if you have time, Hanna, I would love to share you my story. And I've been in remission 2.5 years, and meaning that it stopped. But most of my life, I was triggering cancer. So I'd love to get on one-on-one, and it has a lot to do with our belief system as well. And also the 5 pillars that I came up with, which are sleep, hydration, breath, movement, food. And I'd love to just share how I came to this conclusion and everything.
Yeah. anytime after content day.
Yeah,
We have a big event here in Vegas and my mind is blown.
absolutely. I will reach
I
out
woke
to
up
you
and
by
it felt
email.
like Monday. But
Yeah,
yes,
I'll reach out to you by email, and then whenever, you have time and you have some downtime, just say, "Hey, let's do that one-on-one call."
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I love one-on-ones. I'm a coffee girl, so I'm always open to a Zoom coffee chat.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
All right, ladies. Well, congratulations to all of you who decide to pick up the pen. If you have questions for me, you can reach out to me directly. And I did put the email of who you can contact if you want to hire us as your publisher. And Danny, I'll get you those links for Coffee Connect Create and for author breakout session. Hey, by the way, I never see you at Coffee Connect Create, but I think it's because of the time zone. Right?
It's totally the time. Like it's 4 p.m. here, so that means I have my son.
You're
So
like in mid. Okay.
it's like 4 p.m. So it's like my son's running around, and I don't want to be like. Okay, so I drop him off at like preschool here starts at like 1 year old, and so it's like a daycare, but they get to learn. And so like he's there at 8 to 3. So then when I have him, I want to just be with him if I can. So then I don't have meetings with anybody until like 8:30 to 11 at night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, maybe one day you can pop in and say hello.
of course. I'll make it happen one day. That's for sure.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies. It was great to meet all of you. Congratulations. And if I can assist, just reach out.
Thank you, Hannah.
Bye,
Have a great
Danny. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Thank you,
And
Danny.
then,
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you,
yep.
everyone.
Oh, wait. And then I was just going to say one thing. Oh, so we already lost somebody. Okay. I was just going to say one more thing. We have, let's see. We are going to have Tuesdays now. Next Tuesday, we're going to have Eric Brown, and he's going to be talking about like with consistency with writing and organization and how to have that more beneficial for you, because like that is his superpower, is being organized and consistent with writing. So he has a community on school as well, and his is all about the writing race and all this kind of stuff. So he's all about helping people write, and he's writing a fantasy book right now that I'm so interested in checking out when he makes it. But yeah, just want to let you guys know, and so glad you all made it, and I hope you loved all the info you got from Hannah, and I hope to see you next Tuesday, possibly Thursday, 10 a.m. CET. I can't remember what that is in PST. Well, that is way too early, probably, I think. So
CT?
I guess it's more for the European side of the
Or
country.
CT as in Central Time US or what?
PST is like Pacific.
Oh, okay, but okay, so which hour CET?
Oh, Central European time.
Okay, and which hour then? Hour
So-
8 p.m.?
Oh, it's going to be 10 a.m. on Thursday.
10 a.m. Oh yeah, so it's gonna be in PST probably like, wait,
Around
Midnight.
8 maybe?
yeah.
A.m.?
PM, I think.
Really?
Let's tell them.
Okay,
No, I
I'll
think
look
it's
into this
10
later.
10
Yeah,
hour, it's 10-hour difference.
not
I
strong
think.
with times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what we got going on, and looking forward to seeing you guys all again. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Danny. Take
Bye.
care.